The child was paralyzed. Look what the dog did. It's a miracle. Young Walter was only 1 when he suffered a terrible accident that left him paralyzed. Filled with little hope, his mother immediately burst into tears when she saw what this dog did. Walter, a happy and healthy 1-year-old, brought immense joy to his single mother, Martha. In their small world, every moment spent together was a cherished blessing. However, their joyful little family was about to face a tragedy that would change their lives forever. One morning, while Martha was in the kitchen preparing breakfast, she allowed Walter to play in the sitting room where she could keep an eye on him. Everything seemed fine until the busy mother stepped outside for just a moment to take out the trash. Nothing should have gone wrong, but when Martha returned, she was met with a scene of utter chaos. Her heart dropped as she entered the room and saw Walter lying on the floor, having innocently climbed onto one of the high couches and fallen off. Panicking, she rushed to cradle him in her arms, singing and apologizing, but his cries continued. As a mother, she sensed something different in his cries, an intuition that whispered a deeper concern. Dismissing it as mere anxieties, she focused on comforting Walter, unaware that the fall was much worse than she could have imagined. She administered some pain-relieving meds to the boy and worked hard to comfort him. Despite her efforts, Walter continued to cry. That was when the realization set in. Something was terribly wrong. As she looked closer, she noticed something unusual. Walter was unable to move his left arm and leg. When he kicked or reached out for her, his left limbs lay completely still. When she attempted to give him some water, his mouth couldn't open properly either. Panic gripped her as she realized that the fall had inflicted serious damage. Martha couldn't hold back the tears, but she knew this was not the time to sit and cry. She had to take action. Pushing down her panic, she rushed out of the house with her child in her arms and raced to the hospital. There, the doctor carefully examined Walter, and with each passing minute, Carolyn felt her heart sink. When the diagnosis came, it was a harsh reality. Walter had suffered nerve damage from the fall, leaving him paralyzed on the left side of his body. The doctors couldn't say if he would regain mobility. The news hit Martha hard, and tears welled in her eyes as Walter, unaware of the severity of his condition, looked at her. Despite her devastation, Martha refused to give in to despair. With newfound strength, she embraced her role as a resilient mother. The road to recovery would be tough, with therapy, medical consultations, and emotional strain, but Martha remained confident they could face it together. Despite the challenges, Walter remained a happy, loving boy, unresponsive to medical treatments. He was paralyzed nonetheless. The routine of therapy sessions, doctor visits, and the desperate hope for improvement seemed futile, and the weight of helplessness bore heavily on Martha's shoulders. The painful truth ate away at her soul. She missed the times when Walter, so full of energy and joy, would dash up to her, excited to share his toys and those little moments that made motherhood a delight. But now it looked like her precious boy would never walk again, let alone run. Martha couldn't shake the persistent guilt that she should have been there to prevent the accident. The burden of responsibility weighed on her, and she blamed herself for not safeguarding Walter that fateful day. At work, Grace, one of Martha's colleagues, couldn't ignore the persistent sadness in her friend's demeanor. Concerned, she reached out to her, gently prodding until Martha reluctantly opened up about Walter's situation and the emotional toll it had taken on her. As she poured out her heart, Grace listened with empathy until a possible solution materialized in her mind. She was an avid animal lover and knew that pets could be of immense help to their owners. Martha, hesitant about having pets in the house, was persuaded by Grace to consider getting an emotional support dog for Walter, specifically a Labrador. Grace shared her positive experiences and emphasized the benefits of a lively pet bringing joy and companionship to a child with limited movement. Martha, weighing her fears against her desire to help Walter, remembered her commitment to do whatever it took for his recovery. Deciding to take a chance, she resolved to visit an animal shelter the next day, hoping to find a dog that could make a difference in Walter's life. With little experience in handling dogs, Martha spent the night conducting thorough research. She delved into the intricacies of dog care, their dietary needs, and general information about their behavior. As she read heartwarming stories from other dog owners, her apprehension began to transform into hope. The testimonials of loving, caring dogs convinced Martha to embrace the idea of a canine companion for Walter. The next morning, she contacted a nearby animal shelter, expressing her need for an emotional support dog. The staff, eager to help, recommended Gerald, a Labrador, as the perfect fit for Walter. Martha completed the adoption and eagerly awaited his arrival. When Gerald arrived, she was surprised by the instant connection she felt with him. Even more surprising was the immediate bond that formed between Gerald and Walter. It was as if the dog sensed the needs of the young boy and acted accordingly. His gaze never wavered from Walter, establishing a connection that transcended the boundaries of words. Witnessing this heartwarming scene, Martha felt a wave of emotion. Gerald had not just entered their home, he had become a new member of the family. The sight of Gerald's unwavering attention toward Walter filled Martha's heart with warmth and hope. Their bond promised a brighter future, offering emotional support beyond words. As Gerald settled into their home, Martha witnessed the profound impact he had on Walter. Gerald became a constant, offering comfort, companionship, and joy. His intuitive understanding of Walter's needs created a positive environment, with his affectionate gestures bringing solace to both mother and son. Gerald exceeded Martha's expectations, developing a keen sense of when Walter was uncomfortable and alerting her with barks. His playful nature brought laughter to the home, responding to Walter's giggles with cheerful barks. Life at home became more relaxed, and Martha found herself appreciating the unexpected ease that Gerald brought to their daily routines. Any initial hesitations she had about having a dog in the house transformed into gratitude for the joy and comfort Gerald brought into their lives. As time passed, Carolyn began to see Walter making progress in his recovery, and it was clear that Gerald played a big part in it. Whenever they played, Gerald would gently nudge him, encouraging him to stand up and move around the house. Even though Walter faced physical limitations, his determination to pet the dog and play with him was unmistakable. Gerald's consistent encouragement motivated him to push beyond his limits, leading to a breakthrough. One day, while playing together, Walter slowly lifted his left arm to pet Gerald. Seeing her son make this movement filled Martha with immense joy. Tears streamed down her face as she hugged and kissed him, celebrating this emotional milestone. It was a powerful moment, representing progress and resilience and highlighting the unique bond between a boy and his dog. But this wasn't the last miracle for their small family. In the days that followed, Martha was astonished by Walter's progress. Walking into their room one day, she witnessed something incredible. Her son was leaning on Gerald for support, moving around the room. Walter had not only regained movement in his left hand, but also stood partially and managed to move his left leg. Overwhelmed with emotion, Martha cried tears of happiness. As the days went on, Walter's recovery continued to exceed all expectations. The bond between him and Gerald became a driving force for recovery. In time, he regained his strength, moving from partial mobility to a complete recovery. The once desperate situation now seemed like a distant memory, replaced by the joyous sight of a boy and his faithful canine companion playing and exploring the world together. Martha, overjoyed by the unbreakable bond between Walter and Gerald, marveled at their resilience. Despite failed therapies, their connection had been the true remedy. After further tests, the doctors confirmed that Walter had fully recovered and was no longer experiencing paralysis. The news of his miraculous recovery spread, leaving everyone astounded by the bond between him and his pet. Watching Gerald and Walter play together, something she thought impossible just weeks ago, Martha realized how much their connection had transformed their lives. Curious, she researched Gerald's background and discovered that he was a specially trained therapy dog skilled in helping children with physical disabilities. Gerald had become available for adoption after his previous owner, who had adopted him when her baby was born, tragically died in a car accident. Deeply grieving, Gerald had been sad ever since, as the shelter staff shared with Martha, not displaying the usual jovial demeanor seen in other dogs in the kennel. Worried about Gerald's prolonged stay at the shelter due to his grieving soul and melancholic demeanor, the staff faced difficulty finding a new home for him. Martha learned that when she called the animal shelter seeking a companion and emotional support pet for her sick son, the staff instantly recognized Gerald as the ideal candidate. Having lost his previous owner and friend, who was around the same age as Walter, Martha and her family believed that Gerald's meeting with Walter would bring him joy, allowing him to channel his love for his late friend to a boy who needed him. Learning about Gerald's difficult past brought Martha to tears. The realization that he had come so far, always a special dog from the start, deepened her gratitude and admiration for him. The bond between them grew even more precious as Martha reflected on how close she had come to giving up hope. She realized that the connection between pets and humans was truly priceless and powerful. As the days passed, Walter flourished, growing into a healthy, joyful child with Gerald always by his side. Gerald had become a beloved member of the family, and his heartwarming story quickly spread throughout the city. It inspired those with misconceptions about pet dogs to rethink their views, reinforcing the truth that dogs are truly man's best friend. The story of Gerald and Walter stood as a testament to the transformative power of love and companionship, challenging stereotypes and encouraging others to value the deep bonds that can form between humans and their pets. What an incredible story! If you enjoyed this video and want to see more, don't forget to hit that like button, share it with your friends, and subscribe to our channel. We'd love to hear your thoughts, so please leave a comment below. See you in the next video.